Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update.
And I was in a bus at, I think, the IIM Causeway, and I got a message from someone, hey, final list is out or whatever. By the time I reached Bandra is when I got the thing on my phone which said, yeah, you've been accepted. And I remember I shrieked a little bit.
What was your percentile that you scored?
I think it was around 98 point something. I don't remember, but that was it. I got like a 99 point something in verbal, and my quant was some 92, 93 something.
So you've got your results.
Yeah.
Okay. And you know that, okay, these are some of the schools that are a possibility for me.
Yeah.
You know that your interview is 2 months away. How do you go about preparing for it?
Okay. One of the things that really helped was the coaching classes that I was part of. People who scored above a certain percentile who were getting calls were coached separately for group discussion prep and PI prep, personal interview prep. By default, वो एक side में module चल रहा था where every Sunday, I think every weekend, we used to have sessions on how to approach questions asked in a personal interview. Basically, they should do mock interviews, give you feedback on a one-to-one basis, have general knowledge sessions, which in hindsight sounds so funny. Like it's like, बच्चा paper पढ़ो और ये सुनो कश्मीर में ऐसा हो रहा है, you should know about this. But yeah, anyway, but that has to be done. I also see the value in it, and I'm very grateful that that happened. But it was cute. We used to all sit in an auditorium, and there used to be professors coming and talking to us about topics that are potentially asked in all these for GDs and for PIs. So yeah, that was happening on the side. What I also did was reached out to seniors, reached out to people who had gone through the process, and asked for inputs on interviews. I was fairly convinced that I could do a GD fine. I was the kind of person who talked a lot and talked sense mostly. Obviously practiced for it. It wasn't like I wasn't working on it, working towards it. I used to read up as much as I could.
I remember that when I was preparing for my PI, I was extremely overconfident about it that I'll do a great job of it.
Yeah.
By the time I did the first mock interview, I realized that, man, I'm really shit at this and I really need a lot of help.
GDs,
is that what happened to you?
No, I was like that with GDs and
okay.
I was okay. PIs on the other hand, I thought I needed prep, and in fact the first few mocks that I went for, it just destroyed me. So yeah, I was again all the more keen on preparing more for PIs. So yeah, that did happen to me. I think it happens to everyone who is doing an interview for the first time, because you get to hear yourself from another person's perspective, and they're like, "Bhai, chup kar." Like, kya bakwas hai ye? So structure your answers, talk sense, everything that's on your CV. You should be able to talk about for at least 30 seconds.
You keep giving personal interviews throughout your life. After giving the first interview for your B school, every job interview you are going to be giving really serious, hardcore interviews. That will sound really hardcore.
Correct.
With really tough questions. Summer prep, final interviews, and every subsequent role that you get. There are some habits that you form for your MBA interview that you take to all these places. So, is that the case with you as well? And how what were some of the habits that you established at that time that have helped you throughout in all your interviews since?
There are some habits that you form when you're preparing for B school interviews. I think interviews in general are a daunting experience for most people. What I learned in those mock interviews was a few good things that I still carry with me whenever it comes to difficult conversations. One of them was I used to write down my answers. So I am the kind of person who remembers by writing, or sort of structures her thoughts by writing. So I think that helped me immensely. Of course, there was a question bank. Everyone comes with a lot of gyan on what are the kind of questions they ask you in B school interviews, what are the kind of answers you should give. Idea was to at least be as authentic as possible when you're making those answers, because the interviewer is tired of hearing, they interview like hundreds of people every day. So the idea was to shine through authentically while giving out structured answers, because no one has time for your rambles. So writing my answers was the one habit I picked and sort of stuck to. And structuring my answers.
Tell us about the moment when you got into IIM Lucknow.
So this is about the time when I got my final, yes, you're accepted to IIM Lucknow. I remember I was again nervous as hell because I didn't want to sit at home, and I had another interview scheduled that day. Like I had a call from MDI Gurgaon also that day. So I decided, hey, why not? I will go for this just to get distracted and not keep refreshing that page at home. So I went. I was at, I think the other catering college is where the interview was. And I'll not get into that. That was another whole funny incident. But yeah, that happened, and I was on my way back from there. And I remember to kill time, I did not take a cab back. I took a bus back. Like I waited for a bus. I was wearing heels. I was wearing my formal attire, and I waited for a bus because I didn't want to get back home early. And I was in a bus at I think the IIM Causeway, approaching towards Bandra.
Opposite IIM Church.
Opposite IIM Church. On my way there, and I got a message from someone. Hey. Final list is out or whatever, results is out. So on my phone, I'm refreshing and I'm exasperated because, hey, what the hell, I'm stuck in the middle of Mahim in a bus. And I think this was, by the time I reached Bandra is when I got the thing on my phone which said, yeah, you've been accepted. And I remember I shrieked a little bit. And I got down from the bus because I didn't know what else to do. Got down from the bus, called my family. I think I then took a rig home and I went home and celebrated. I don't remember what happened after that, but this is how I found out about my...
Peru, you're a Bombay girl, grown up,
Yes.
born and brought up in Bombay, been to premier institutions in Bombay. Now you're suddenly going to IIM Lucknow.
Yeah.
You're going to be spending 2 years over there.
Yeah.
What was your feeling about it? What was your parents' feeling about
I
it?
was so very happy. My parents, I'll get to what my mom felt. She thought I was going to some village. Campus life is very different from the city life anyway.
Right.
I knew this because I had spoken to people. But yeah, my mom was super, why don't you take some B school in Bombay only? Like, you know, idhar hi pad lena, kya hai udhar, IIM kyun jana hai? Like, mom, please. So yeah, dad was chill. My father is a professor. He knows he teaches at a B school, so he knows how the drill works. But mom was a little apprehensive, to be honest. I was super happy. I was looking forward to the independent life outside of home. Hostel life, which I had never experienced before.
So, what was your preparation like? If you say you're a nerd and everything you do is like done with a lot of preparation and thorough thought through stuff, what was your approach to starting this B school life?
I think talking to people, like figuring out how the place works, reading up about it on insideiim.com, of course, and also there were a few other. So yeah, basically reading up about things about what campus life is like. Talking to people again. I had a bunch of friends who were 1 year my senior there, so spoke to them. Yeah, things like that. I think I do things that way. That's basically how my answers have been.
And did you take parents along the first time you went on
Yes,
campus?
my parents and my younger sister came to drop me off, and it was hilarious because the very first day, so we had to go pay our fees at the bank which is on the campus. That was one of the first things we did, and I remember my mom, dad and my sister were standing outside the bank. I had forgotten one document, so I had to go run back to my room. Of course, we first went and set up, like put stuff in the room, sat there for a bit. Yeah, so this is early June and it was exasperatingly hot. I ran back to my room to get a document, and by the time I come back, my mom and I are standing like 10 feet apart, and both of us like paused, startled, because we saw a snake enter a gutter right in front of our eyes. So my mom is here, I am here, and we both like, okay, so moving on then, let's go to the bank. Yeah, so that happened the first day that I was there. So yeah, it was quite an experience.
What was the moment when you felt that, you know, I belong here and I will also make great friends and I'm going to make an amazing experience these next 2 years?
I don't think there was one moment, because I think the first 3 months just went in like steadying myself, because first term is not easy for anyone who's coming.
Which is why I asked you, when did you feel that you belong here?
That did not happen at all in any time in the first 3 or 6 months. I think somewhere in the middle of second term is when I started, getting the hang of things, getting better at academics, managing to do things outside of academics. So I don't think I had a moment per se, but one of my highest highs was summer placements, which was fairly enjoyable for me. Like I loved it was a gruesome process. Like the process itself was very scary, but yeah, this is like at 5 in the morning, people are calling you up for an interview. You have to do again an interview, which is typically a scary thought. So 5 in the morning, I'm entering a room to be told, hey, we love your profile, we want you on board. It's like, wait, what is happening? It's like, okay, fine, like let's do this. So yeah, I think that was a nice feeling.
You interned at?
I interned at Mondelez, India, which is makers of Cadbury chocolates. By now, everyone's supposed to know that Mondelez is Cadbury chocolates, but I don't think everyone does. So I shall do this.
Right.
But yeah, I interned at an FMCG company in the corporate finance.
And now you look at it not just as your personal experience, but what you saw around you. Okay, so take us right in the middle of the summer placement week at IIM Lucknow in 2012, 13, whenever. What was it like? What was the atmosphere like? What was the energy like? What kind of conversations would people be having?
By now, tighter groups had been formed. Everyone had their own support system on campus. So prep was typically around people studying or doing mock interviews in each other's rooms or in the library. I had my 2-3 friends whom I used to do mock interviews with. Again, mock interviews, can't emphasize enough on how important it is to practice them. CV making, oh my god.
Yeah.
Multiple iterations of CVs have been reviewed by seniors were basically like the most sought after people on campus. Please CV check kar lo, please CV. It's so funny in hindsight, but yeah, we did that. I did it too. I think I had version 1, version 2, and after a point I was like, fuck it, like let's just keep not stop numbering these. So yeah, there were multiple iterations of the CV. Made friends along the way.
How long did you take to make your CV?
Yeah, I think we were told to start working on our CVs the moment we entered, if I remember correctly. But yeah, that's how it was. And yeah, I mean, all jokes apart, it is the most important document, right? Because how do you how does one cut through the clutter and figure out, okay, this is the person, this is one sheet of paper telling people who you are. So CV making was big, interview prep was big. And then the support system of having friends help you out with interview prep. Again, I had a diary where I put all my notes on each company that I was applying to and what I was expecting out of that interview and what I wanted to tell them about myself. So that was a diary.
So just to step back, you're saying that this is the time when banks were your dream company.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Coming back to
this. So which were the banks that you wanted to get into for your summer placement?
Again, I think HSBC was one of the banks that I was applying to. But around now, this is where the game change happens.
Right.
I met a senior who had interned at Mondelez in the year before that. Basically, she worked at Mondelez and she and I were friends on campus. So at some point before the summers, we had spoken about what FMCG corporate finance life is like. And while I still didn't want to completely give up on my banking aspirations, I was very open. And of course, I used to attend the PPTs that these companies came and did, right? So in the course of those PPTs, I really liked what P&G had to offer, what HUL had to offer, and of course what Mondelez also had to offer. These are 3 FMCG companies that I was looking at, while also still looking at the banking roles. But unfortunately on my campus, which was a marketing heavy campus, there weren't enough finance banking roles. They were more attuned towards commercial banking, marketing. So I was not sure that would be the right place to apply. So banks were a bit on the back burner when this was happening. And at the same time, I spoke to this senior of mine and she's like, yaar, tu kya kar rahi hai? Matlab tujhe banking mein kyun ghusna hai? Like, yaar, pata nahi, I really like the field. Soon, there is a world outside of banking called FMCG. Like, okay, chalo, let's talk about this. And she told me about her summer internship experience and it sounded nice. I was more than happy to go delve deeper into what FMCG was offering. That's when I paid more attention at the P&G PPT, at the HUL PPT.
Right.
Figured this is also something that I think I can, the whole work-life balance, the coveted work-life balance that you aspire for at some stage in life. I was like, yeah, this is a great way to do this because while the work seems challenging, I think people there have a life and I think this should be good for me, and that's when I started focusing my energies towards that side.
Okay, thanks Peru. That was really helpful.
Thank you,
I think